All right, everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are here today with top agent Todd Rall of Rall Realty, and I'm so excited to interview him today. We were actually just having lunch and chatting about the ALC, which is the Associate Leadership Council. It's something Todd's considering being on this year. So I wanted to go ahead and capture this, and we'll dig into this, Cyberbackers virtual assistants, and how Todd is building a foundation that is 100% scalable and easily duplicated so that he can build an empire in real estate. Let's do this. Stay tuned to the end to find out what caused this moment. I gotta ask you one question before we wrap this up. Yep. Okay, and I want you to be completely honest. You've been at other
brokers.
You've been at other brokers. All right, Todd, we were just talking about the ALC Clinic, which is basically, it's hosted by Georgia Alpizar for us this year. We're doing it with the Inland Empire region in California, even though we're out here in Michigan. Right. But we're going to have Georgia for 6 hours or so next Thursday. Good. It's fun. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the ALC? I know that's a really big commitment. Why would you even think of doing it?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the ALC goes, I came obviously I'm quite a ways from the market center. I came to that market center, one, for the leadership, and one, two, for KW as a whole. I mean, that was my first introduction to KW, and I kind of mistakenly put it on myself that since I was a bit out of the region per se, that I wouldn't have any say as far as how the market center operated or the ALC. Fast forward 2 years later, I was quite wrong about that. I'll admit that. And I'm looking forward to it, to having some input in helping the market center grow as a whole.
All right, fantastic. And I know you have a habit of, when you go into social situations and you're at mixers, you're at conventions, you have a habit of very easily connecting with people, building those relationships, and networking professionally. So I think
mostly professional. Some of those jokes don't go over very well, but I make up for it.
I happen to think it's why people love you. So I think
okay. Always toeing the line. That's good. That's
nah, you got to be authentic. Okay, so just chatting about the ALC, one of the things Todd was like, is it really 6 hours? Which is crazy, right? Because we're all really, really, really busy right now. In fact, I just had to text someone and say, I know you're super busy, but do you eat? And I'm waiting for them to text me back, because when they say, yes, of course I eat, I'm going to say, great, I'll send you lunch and we need to sit down for 30 minutes. Like, you're going to do it anyways. You might as well do it with me.
Right.
But we're all super busy right now. One of the benefits, I think, of going to the ALC clinic with Georgia Alpizar is that she sees the ALC as an opportunity to sort of cut your leadership teeth and really develop some high level skills in terms of, how to set standards and expectations, how to establish a goal, and how to allow success through other people towards that goal, which is basically training for being a rainmaker or
correct.
Yeah, a team leader. So I think it'll be nice to hear her perspective on it. And I think that the people who are overwhelmed by it are going to select themselves out, which is okay. Like, that's totally fine, because we all have different years in our lives where things are 100% like, I'm ready to do this, and I need to say no to something.
Right.
Yeah, we even actually, Martin Bama just recently said, like, I need to press pause, right? ALC, which is completely understandable because he's having record months right now.
Well, that, and a lot of people are still adjusting to what their business looks like after COVID, right? So thankfully for Rall Realty Group and myself, it's been a really good year. There's times where I feel kind of guilty about that, but I do believe it's because of the plans we put in place beforehand, right? And you got to take their business when you have it, and you can still be respectful, of what other people are going through too.
Absolutely. Well, and the reality is, for every transaction that you've done, there was a buyer or a seller that you helped. So you can't feel guilty about that, right? Because the reality is, people are making huge financial transactions right now. They're selling high, they're retrieving their equity, and then they're reinvesting at a low interest rate and literally building wealth for like the next generation.
Yeah, and the way I've come to kind of look at it is, as stressful as 2020's been, to help somebody buy or sell real estate in a less stressful way, actually will probably help them a lot, in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna change so many families for generations to come. Honestly, I think this moment in time, and like Gary said, you got to make hay while the sun shines. Squirrel away some money, keep your expenses low, and do not look up from production right now. Like, this is the moment.
Right. I mean, we have families to support too, so it's
Yep.
Businesses, it is what it is.
We sure do, don't we? We're human. I think sometimes people
Some of
forget.
us have a few girls, and they get pretty much what they want. So yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, and thank goodness for Nicole right now, right? Your wife watching those babies at home so you can
I
still.
don't I don't know what I would do without that. With her, because as busy as it's been, with as crazy as it gets, she definitely picks me up, and also keeps me humble when it's going really good too. So
Yeah,
shout out to her if she's watching.
yeah, she's a fantastic mother and wife, and I just think that it's so nice to have that, right? One of the
Very
things
much so.
that I've come across, so obviously, I talk to people like yourself every day about their business, and sometimes I talk to folks outside of our brokerage as well. And one of the things that I'm hearing over and over and over from people with school-age children at home right now is that their spouse has the steady go to work 9 to 5 job, and they're the flexible one, and so therefore they're home with the kids all day. But the result is that a lot of these realtors who are business owners, they're actually not working on their business right now, and it's a very scary time because they're choosing to put their family first, but they're also
Right.
struggling to figure out, like, how do I not let my business perish overnight?
Right, and that's something I think that every couple or every marriage has to decide for themselves. For us individually here, it's a bit easier for her schedule to be more flexible. Our kids were homeschooled anyway beforehand, so we did enroll them in a hybrid situation this year, and Nicole's very good with them. And when my schedule opens up, I try to get in there too, usually for the fun activities, but not so much
You
math
take
and
them out,
reading.
you take them out hunting, don't you?
I do. We go hunting and fishing a lot, and the only math I really do with them is 3% and 6%. So that's kind of where I lay right there.
I think my favorite story about your girls was when you took them to a coffee shop and someone gave them a straw, and your little girl saying, "You are
Yes,
killing Mother Earth."
yes. So my middle Nora, she is very much on banning straws. She is 4, and she does not like straws. So if you hand her a straw, she will let you know
You will
that
scold.
you are not helping Mother Earth, and she's not happy about that.
I just adore the way you guys are raising your kids. I mean, your values are very prominent in what you guys are teaching your kids, and I think it's an amazing trait that you guys have as a family.
Well,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. One of the things I wanted to mention on this video, talking about realtors with kids that are home, is I was talking with a few other moms and dads that are dealing with this right now, and we've decided to create an inter-brokerage mastermind for folks who are business owners that have kids at home, and we're going to just all get together and
Wow.
figure out, like, what resources can we pull, what's working for you, what's failing for you, how do we help you nurture your business while, and maybe you turn it into a referral business for right now.
Yeah, I mean well, how many other brokerages or market centers are doing that, right? I come from another brokerage before I came here. Not that they were bad, but nobody ever thought that big, right? So I can appreciate that. That's, when people ask you what's your why and why do you stay, when you get recruited by so many other people, that's one of the reasons why, for sure. Thank you for doing that. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, well, actually, so we just hatched the idea yesterday, and I was like, man, the October calendar's already out. But I don't care, because putting it off for November for the sake of getting it on a calendar, it makes no sense. We need help now. And, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could find agents who are willing to service your clients temporarily, meaning they don't go in their database later, they go right back to your database later, but I'll service them for this transaction and I'll do it for 50%, right? It's almost like a care network. And I think that would help a lot of people out right now. So interesting.
I think too, it's a good idea because especially for the newer agents, it's not good to get short-sighted and think you're not going to need help at one time yourself either. So
very true.
a lot of us agents that have been in the business for a while, we have people we go to for holidays and vacations, and we work that stuff out on our own. But it's inevitable that you're going to need help from some other agent in the office to show that house while you're out of town, or go to that closing or that inspection. It happens to all of us. You can't be everywhere at once. So I can appreciate that for sure.
So speaking of can't be everywhere at once, now let's talk about leverage, right? So you've done a few interesting things this year, when COVID hit and just thereafter. Let's talk about it. How have you pivoted your business?
So for me, Command was very instrumental in the beginning, and it's where I start every day. I got it now to where every single person in my database is on a smart plan, if not many smart plans. I basically wanted it dummy proof to walk in, open Command, and it tell me what I'm supposed to do that day, rather than just looking at thousands of contacts and trying to find 20 people to call out of it. This way, it has it laid out for me when and what to send. And it was actually getting to the point where that was actually even too much. So I did reach out for some leverage and hired a virtual admin, virtual assistant, and she's been fantastic. It's through Cyberbackers. I know some other people in the office use them. And at first I wasn't sure I was gonna have enough stuff to give her to do, right? So I got really really techie and made a spreadsheet and sent it to her on stuff I do daily.
That's very advanced, Todd.
Yes, yes. That's very engineering of me, and I'm not an engineer at all. But it helped me because basically, as you go through your day, anything that wasn't in-person meetings or on the phone, I tried to pass off. And I will say, about 6 weeks into it, I have never had this much time to network, to call, to do pop buys, the fun stuff. And as much as I thought it would struggle, all the other stuff is running as it should be. And we conference every day. We text every day. She works 9 to 1. And I'm actually looking on making her full-time here soon.
That's awesome. Okay, so first of all, let's do a shout out to her because that's amazing. What is her name?
Celine.
All right,
Yeah.
Celine, great job helping Rall Realty Group and being a pivotal part of their growth. And now let's talk about Cyberbackers a little bit, just because a lot of people probably don't know what that is.
For sure.
And so tell us a little bit about Cyberbackers.
So Cyberbackers was built by Craig Goodlife. He's a big mega out west, I believe. I had never met him personally, so I've just seen him on the website and heard the VAs talk about him. But to start off, they're trained in the KW culture as a whole. Before they even get to you, I mean, I had 24 applicants that I whittled down to 6 interviews that I picked one person from. And we could have got 1,000 more. They have thousands of people apply over there. They pay very well for over there too. It's about $800 for part-time, and that's 20 hours a week. Very good wage for where they're at in the Philippines there, and they love it. They're happy. You know, the thing is, I gotta say, and I see this happen a lot on some of the other groups. Just because they're a VA and thousands of miles away, they're still a person. So you have to treat them like a person. Okay, let's not get into they're a commodity or anything like that. They're still a person. I talk to my, Celine the same way I talk to everybody else. 90% jokes, 10% business. Just what I do. And it feels good for me, and we get a lot out of it. So the leverage and the time that I've gotten back and such, it's only been 6 weeks since we started this, because I started it about 2 months ago. I mean, there's 2 weeks of training that they go through on their own end. So Cyberbackers teaches them command, they teach them Facebook ads, they teach them Google ads, they teach them all kinds of advertising through Canva, through command, you name it. I mean, so basically when they come on board, you say, hey, I would like to do A, tell me what you need. The next day it's usually done. You don't get 13 calls on, do you want to do this? Do you want to do it? They do it. If you want to make some edits to it, and then it's done. Because my biggest thing, and I'm still working on it, is trying to make everything perfect. And Facebook actually has this in their office. It's better to be done than to be perfect, right? And that's what I need to get better at. And that's why it took so long to give up any of my business, because I didn't think anybody was capable of doing it as well as me. How conceited is that? But
so many of us suffer from that, though. You know what I mean? Most of the agents that I talk to that are building a business and a brand, right, they've got logos, right? They're so wrapped up in the identity of that business. It's really hard to give away that kind of authority. Yeah,
and for me, I think it stems from my clients are my people. They're part of my tribe. I treat everybody like their family, and it's not just a cliche. It's a big deal to me. It's a small town where I come from, smaller town. It's not like Ann Arbor. There's only about 8,000 people here in Milford. And I see most of those people. I'm having lunch next to those people. I'm having dinner. My kids are playing with their kids. So I'm very strict on how we reach out to them. I don't ever want to be the salesy guy. I'm the least salesy guy of all time. I'd rather help you, fix your fence or, fix your car before I sold you a house. So it's just how it works. Yeah.
Are you the Pat Fielder of Milford?
I can only hope.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
That's my goal. Kristen might have something to say about that. She might be Pat Fielder.
As a testament to what you just said about like how seriously you care about the quality of care that you give your clients. I was on Facebook last night and I saw you posting, like sold by Todd Rall, right? And your clients were there. And I noticed that in that thank you to them, you said, I love you guys. I love you. And I was just like, wow, like that's huge to feel that way. And I just thought it was super sweet and genuine. So it comes.
Well, I do love them all. That happened to be my little sister on that one. So, So that makes it sometimes, yeah, I have to watch when I throw love around there. Some of the husbands will get the wrong idea, but in particular, that was my little sister. And yeah, I mean, we all know how it feels to sell a house, but when it's family, it's a lot better. But I think for me, the thing is now is we got to a point now where it's people just search you out after hearing about stuff like that, like really good transactions. And again, it's my sister and brother-in-law's first home, and it's right by us, so it meant a lot for them.
That's awesome. Okay. So tell me a little bit, where do you see your business going? And what was kind of the one thing that you knew you needed to get in line in order for it to grow?
We talk in like the Indy office out here.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually just got the agreement from KWRI about the Indy Mega Agent office is going live out here. So I'm really excited about that. We're opening a title office in that agent office too. So that's a big deal. So I knew I needed to streamline the real estate business to give me time to learn the title side of things, to learn the ownership side of things. And I really think that by the time the build out's done with that, I will have the time set aside to get up to date with that.
Okay, so what you're focusing on right now is sort of your systems, your tools, and your people, right? Like those are the things
Yeah.
that you're getting in line so that you can scale your business with very little, additional.
Yeah, so that's what the other thing we do with Celine and the VAs. Everything that we do, we log it in some kind of SOP, so we know if she wants to grow and take off and do her own thing, that the next person in line has the guide to do it. So I don't have to spend that time to teach them through there again. We also are actually enrolled in a new admin training program that some friends of mine out here are doing for all admins. Rise Training Group is their name. If you're like me and you don't know what you don't know as far as the admin side, you can go to one of the best admins around and learn from them. So they're going to spend some time with Celine, teach her the systems and stuff maybe I wasn't doing yet, and integrate that with the systems that we already have set up. So, and again, for what it's the cost wise, my dollar per hour is much more than what it would cost to have someone else train her. So I'm just trying to free up as much time as I can with that, so the real estate side can grow. And again, the future endeavors will have some time for me too.
Yeah. So I'm hearing a few things there. I'm hearing rip off and duplicate, right? Like don't recreate.
100%.
Yeah,
I love how people think I'm super creative on social media. Maybe 1 or 2 times a year, but a lot of that stuff is just proven analytics that I try to R&D myself or have Celine do. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. If I was doing that in the beginning and spending too much time, the 80-20 rule, I was spending too much time in that. And I knew the rule, but I never cognitively, saw what I was doing until recently. So
one of my favorite bold laws is all work expands to fill the time allowed.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah.
If you go under fire and you feel that pressure and you're like, okay, I only have 20 minutes to do this, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
So my thing was I was working more on my business than I was in it. And I was, last year I was annoyed at my production level because it was pretty similar to the year before. And most people would be like, wow, that was really good. I'm at a point now where if I'm not growing, there's an issue, as far as not just sales volume, but service wise too. And I wanted to do all the things and I wanted to do them all at once. And it's easy to get out of your time block if you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I'm finding right now is, Gary Keller talked about a K-shaped recovery, right? Where some people are financially benefiting from COVID-19 and some people are absolutely not. I see the same thing happening in real estate. And if there's one thing that I see defining the difference between the two is these people, they never stopped talking. They talk to as many people per day as they can possibly talk to. And that's literally the secret.
Yeah, and I think for the people, and there's no wrong way to do real estate. I'm not saying that, but for me, particularly, I don't do any cold calling. I'm 95% referral based, and then the other 5% are random people I meet at Starbucks. You can see I have the packages everywhere. But I really come from just networking and genuine, talking to people. So to continue that through COVID was easy for me because that's what I do anyway. I wasn't trying to sell anything. So the follow-up calls or the care calls were easy for me because I would have done those regardless. And, a lot of people, I think, felt that too. They're like, hey, this is Todd. I hope they felt that because I never called one person once and didn't feel genuine about really checking up on them.
Yeah. I got to ask you one question before we wrap this up.
Yep.
Okay. And I want you to be completely honest. You've been at other
brokers.
You've been at other
Oh, dear.
Yeah, you've been at other brokerages and you've come into ours and you've really rolled your sleeves up and learned all of the millionaire real estate models and systems and the technology we have. What do you think KW has done to give you the systems, models, and tools to get to where you are now? Like, what specifically do you think was the most valuable to you?
I would say, and yourself, Kristen included, the leadership, right? So where I came from, there was one person, it was a manager. They didn't have systems to begin with. And actually how I ended up here was I was growing and I wanted to know the next step. Unfortunately, they chose to use to spend less time with my wife and kids. That's what they told me to do. Instead of actionable items that I got from KW. So the sounding boards that we have there, as far as the whole MCA staff, everybody at the Benton Group, there's not one person you can't call, right? And I needed some of that because I came in here drinking through a fire hose, saw all this KW stuff. I'm like, whoa, where do I go? Trying to do all the things. And, you could call anybody there and they'd say, hey, do this and then do that. And
it's all about prioritizing, really, because there's so many things you can do. But what I find in my coaches and in my mentors, and I saw you talking to Martin the other day, right at the awards ceremony, when you turn and you pivot and you check in with someone who's been there, done that, it's very easy for them to tell you, no, put your blinders on. This is your priority. And that's the quickest way through.
So, and that's the other thing, sounding board wise, and Martin will tell you, he's very humble and I love him for that. But you can ask him anything. He'll call me for command stuff. And I come from a place to where, a guy that sells 2 houses a year is working on an ad and he doesn't want to show anyone, to coming to KW where Martin hands over his entire brochure and says, here, just copy this, put your name on it. Like I don't know if people outside of KW can even think of that, to have someone of that stature and say, hey, just do this. I already did it. Don't waste your time trying to redo it. Just copy this.
Yeah. And I think it's just coming from abundance. Like there's so much out there.
Yes. I came from a very scarcity mindset brokerage. I love the people there. It was just a different culture. And if you're looking for an answer, I would say it's the culture 100% at KW.
Nice. Okay, awesome. Well, Todd Rall, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so excited to see what you do with your business to close this year out and to start 2021. Just a reminder, everyone, we do have a goal setting workshop and class coming up on Tuesday, October 6th. I'm teaching that one. We're going to pull from the one thing. We're going to show you how to identify your big why, your priorities and strategies for the year, put them onto a monthly, accountability system, and then show you what your daily calendar needs to look like for you to actually hit your goals. All right. Thanks so much, Todd. I hope you enjoy the lunch that we sent you, and
it's delicious.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
All right, bye.